What's going on, Generation Crypto? Thank you for tuning into another Power Hour. I'm gonna go ahead and wait a few minutes until we get some more viewers in here, and then I'll go ahead and get started. Got a lot of recent developments, some things I want to highlight, and so on. Recently had a nice bullish turn of head on Bitcoin on the falling wedge. As I had said so. What's going on, guys? If you can drop me a comment, say hi. If you're on YouTube, just say hi so I know who I was watching. And I'm also taking questions and suggestions from our Discord. There's a link to Discord, and questions can go in Tales of the Crypto. I'm gonna go ahead and post that. All right, so real quickly, what's going on? What happened with Bitcoin? Why are we seeing this sudden surge up? Well, it was on the April 9th, right? I posted we're seeing this falling wedge, and then we're likely to get a breakout. I put this up on our Discord, on our Facebook, Twitter. I literally put this wedge almost everywhere, saying this is a big wedge. Now back to the price action. We did retest that wedge at 67. Broke upwards, back down for a bear trap, and then here came the real rally. One thing that's a little worrisome about this, what's happening now, is we are somewhat divergent. We're seeing a divergence here. I can see a pullback back down. I'm not sure how steep it's going to be, but we're going to see one more pullback or so before making the next leg up, unless we just enter a parabolic trend. But as we know, Bitcoin likes to bounce in this range, right? So before going, all in on margin and, trying to get wiped out, we're going to see some play inside this range. And my last Power Hour update said, our next resistance is going to be 72.70, and we just blasted right through that, right? So we might get a pullback down at that 72 range at some point. The reason I'm saying this is because I'm seeing these higher highs on lower RSI. All right, so we're gonna have a nice short opportunity. There's a little rising wedge happening here. We'll get a short opportunity at some point today to bring BTC back down, right? And another thing that resulted in this massive leg up, as I had posted on Discord and our social media platforms, this is the Bitcoin shorts chart, right? I said the shorts are wedging up, they're highly divergent, and we're gonna see a short squeeze. And sure enough, shorts dropped by, let me just measure the gain, the price range over here, or the drop. Shorts dropped by 39%, 40% or so, 41%. Of shorts got dropped out of their trades, and this massive short squeeze is what essentially caused this massive spike, right? But once again, we're getting this divergence. We longed from here to there last night for 100% on 25x. Anyways, so we're gonna get another short opportunity. We're gonna see a lot of meme lines, head and shoulders up here, a lot of meme charts. Hola, what's up, guys? What's up, Goldie? What's up, Lit? I'm just gonna call you Lit, Litoidine. Anyways, so we might see this drop happen here. As I said, we're probably gonna come down to the 72 range. So it'd be a pretty decent short up. If I was on shorting right now, I would totally try to find an entry. Anyways, but back to the market dynamics. Just this drop's gonna be a pullback, hopefully for another leg up. I do think we're out of the massive bear market. And the reason I say that is because we broke out of this massive wedge formation few days ago, and now it's time for a rally, right? When we see a wedge that stretches out from the 13th to the 13th, that's like a month-long wedge. That's a pretty big formation that was happening and developing, and we should be out of it. As for what's going on with the market cap, all right, we went from like 250 bill to 327. That's a pretty good increase, but if we analyze it, you know, on a short-term scale, this is the entire market cap, and this is the entire market cap excluding Bitcoin. And we're still seeing money flow into alts, right? So we're still in this alt season. When I announced this on the 7th, right, market cap for alts was 144, and today we're at 188. So we're seeing a good growth in market cap for alts. We're also seeing alts still gaining BTC dominant, or still gaining market dominance, and BTC is losing market dominance, right? So we're gonna be able to ride alts for a little longer. We're still at that 22.7 previous peaks of altcoin dominance. We're in like 24.9 range, 24.8 range. But that was the January run, the 24.7, right? So we still have quite a bit of gaining to do in alts before we reassess what's going on with the alt market. So we're still in an alt rally or an alt season, however you guys want to view it. The difference is the season is going to be a lot longer than a rally, but what happened here is whenever going out of last year, moving into this year, alts went from 10% to 17. A lot of alts upheld their BTC values, and these are the ones that are showing strength. And they didn't uphold it to the max, but when I say that, I'm talking about a 61.8 retracement, which means that they're still bullish. And you know, we started seeing a lot of the alts rally past few days. Some of them, you know, quote unquote mooned, and others are still, you know, inching their ways up as we go. Any questions on Bitcoin, market dominance, and market structure in general before I move on forward? No questions? Awesome. Well, guys, if you are not subscribed to our newsletter, go to our website. You know, I did post this awesome report, and I sent it out via email about what was happening. And this is where we were, right? That's before the rise. I said we're gonna see a green quarter, and then, you know, we're gonna see an alt rally. We got a good positive correlation happening. So, I believe, you know, that this is happening. So if you guys want to subscribe to our newsletter, we send out findings as we see them. We're not going to bombard your email. So go ahead and sign up for our newsletter, durationcrypto.com. Just leave your info there, and that's literally a subscription to our newsletter. All right, moving on. So I'm expecting a little pullback, especially on this massive bear div. I would wait for the next high to open a bigger short. Just for a minor correction. All right, moving on. I'm gonna cover some alts. I'm gonna start with the one that's still under the radar. That is Wax. I put out an accumulation and a buy sig on this one from 1900 to the 21 range. We are at 28 right now, right? So this thing's up a pretty good amount. So 21, 20, let's call it 20. We're up 36% on this one. It's still under the radar. Volume has not even began to pick up, right? We're at 89 BTC, so I think this thing's still got room to go. Another one that made a massive gain yesterday was OMG, Omizigo. Profit took in the 21. We're kind of in the chat talking about this. It pulled back, but I believe it's still bullish, right? It's still gonna, this is just profit taking. I think, you know, this is going to continue its rally further up. And one thing we do know about OMG, it's really tricky, right? So we'll see these big price fluctuations on the way up. And that's going to be typically normal. So getting in on a 30-minute pullback on a 30-minute oversold is going to be good. I'm not sure if we'll find a 30-minute oversold on some of these really bullish charts, as they are starting to find RSI support, right? And, you know, to identify like an RSI support, you want to go down to the bottom. It's going to be 30, and then you want to go to the next bottom, and it's going to be 38. So these are the type of things you want to look for to get into an a bullish chart that's oversold, like on a pullback. Matthew Pink, I will check Litecoin for you. I'm gonna start simple. I'm gonna start how I typically judge something on a long term. LTC BTC. Let me pull up an RSI here. So one thing we saw, a lot of charts kind of hit bottom twice on an RSI divergence, right? And that's when they began to rally once again. So that is something I would look for. I would want to see Litecoin go oversold again before pulling the trigger and seeing it's getting ready to move up. Let's check Litecoin USD. And it sort of did so. It did this round bottom just like Ether did. It's not as bullish as Ether is right now. You know, if you look at that last resistance of like 135 level, when you compare it to ETH USD, you know, that's where that last resistance was at 411. All right, and now we're at 515. But they all like to run on, you know, on their own schedule, Litecoin, Ether, Bcash, and such. I've never been too bullish on Litecoin personally. So let's go back to my 1-day chart, back to my moving averages, and I want to see, you know, more of these moving averages getting bullish. One thing I've been mentioning in every power hour up to here is we want to be in the charts that are showing strength, charts that are converging upwards on their MAs, charts that look bullish, right? That look technically really bullish. Now, long-term wise, does Litecoin look bullish? It does. It absolutely does. But it doesn't have momentum on its side yet. Right, we're in a very volatile market, and we want to capitalize on momentum, or I want to capitalize on momentum because I want to extract the most value out of the market within a certain time frame. Oh, somebody said link to Discord isn't working. How's you guys still buffering? Are you doing better? LWADs? Awesome. So, you know, some of the previous signals we had, I'd signaled sub, right? And this is what I'm talking about, charts that are getting more and more bullish. Sub made some pretty good gains. I'm going to go to our signal page. So sub or buy range was at 51, right? And we're at 71. So that is a pretty good gain, right? Especially on a rising BTC. So we go to the 51 range. Up, that's a 38% gain in a couple of days. This thing we signaled on 4-5, right? A little over a week. Another one that really took off was Encash. And you know, we're still making steady gains. I believe I signaled this one at 394. It's in the 519 range. And these are, you know, these are the power scans from our team. Another beautiful one we talked about was ADA. ADA's buy range was in the 21 range, so it's at 26. What else did we cover? Wax, QRL hasn't started picking up momentum yet, but you know, back to the discussion of like looking at things like Litecoin, we want to see charts pick up momentum, pick up steam, moving averages start doing this before moving up. You know, some of the strong FATA, you know, I mentioned Ripple on the pennant, and XRP was 76. We're at 85 now. We also spoke about Lumen. Lumen is starting to make some gains. And yeah, so a lot of alts are moving, and hopefully you guys were able to diversify in the right ones before this pop. And I believe we're going to see some more positive action, more green across the board. Simply historically speaking, last 4 years, this quarter has been bullish. Q2 has been bullish. We just broke out of a wedge on BTC. A lot of shorts just got burnt. So people are going to be more hesitant to short BTC on the way up. I know we're buffering again. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not sure what's going on with my internet today. All right, so what do you guys have for me? Shoot me some alts. I'll look over them, and we can move on, right? We can give me 3 at a time, not each. You know, hit me with an alt. I'll get the next one. Bitcoin. So BTC, it looks like it's got somewhat of an imminent pop, right? We're seeing these accumulation happen here. We're seeing moving averages look a lot better than some of the other coins we've looked at. Much better than Litecoin did. I haven't, you know, checked up on their FA much lately. Volume's still low. And if you're following Litecoin, I believe, based on what it's done historically on its patterns, we're seeing a bottom that's going to look somewhat like this, right? Didn't quite V, you know, as it usually does, more like what we're seeing here. I would, if you're nervous about Bitcoin, I'd tighten up a stop at 26.7 on that, you know, moving average. You know, ADX doesn't look too juicy, but this thing has sustained ADX time and time again. Now, when we were up here, ADX was getting really high, but then we still made some pretty good gains. We're at 36 right now, and we're going sideways, right? So we want to make sure we're trending. We could see an imminent breakout, and we could see a stop hunt. So just kind of tighten up that stop loss. Bitcoin likes to jump when least expected, right? Last time it made this rally, this was during a lot of alts were struggling. This was during the Bitcoin gold fork, and it still made a whopping massive percentage. I'm still personally bagging quite a bit of ETC. You know, if you look at this thing historically, since, you know, 2017, it's been in a bullish mode. It's making these higher highs and higher lows. And let's do a support line. And if it was to continue its bullish trend, it hasn't broken the trend yet, right? It has not broken its long-term trend. It has bounced off of it twice. I'm going to pull up an RSI on a massive bullish div, right? And that's why I like it, right? This is one of the reasons I like it, is because we're seeing this really exaggerated RSI divergence on a lower low. So I want to see this thing make some gains. Why do I think BTC can make a new top before retracement? Joel, well, it's called a bull trap. You wanna before a retracement, we want to see a bull trap because it's gonna be the best opportunity to short, right? If you margin trade like we do, it's gonna want to make one more push. I believe it's gonna want to make one more push to trap more bulls up here. It's come back down. It's just psychology, right? You want more people excited, you want more people burnt. And if you get on a lot of these groups, people are like, oh, it's just a pump and dump scheme and it's all these institutions, it's manipulation. It's not, it's just market psychology. That's just how markets work. So it could not, but we're still seeing, you know, this is a divergent run, right? One more gassed up and I'm about ready to short. That's why I think that, Joel. Alright guys in Discord, got any hit me with some altcoins. There's a lot of, you know, a couple of new guys and gals. I think we should be stabilized now. I mean, there's nothing else running on my internet. Yes. So we're currently bouncing off oversold. I think on my last update I said this thing was divergent and is probably ready to come down. Pretty sure I said that 2 days ago. And it's probably time to profit take. Alright. You're seeing this massive divergence. And it's funny, I get trolled sometimes for using like a 15-minute or 30-minute time frame. Oh, is that valid? Yes, absolutely it is valid. Even if you go to a bigger time frame, it doesn't quite look as divergent, but I believe it's gonna either, you know, profit take or set a tight stop. Cypher, what's the volume on Geo? Come on, man, 9 BTC. What are you trying to do to everybody? What are you trying to do? Guys, no alts? Nobody's got any alt requests? Is that it for today? PowerHour, we're seeing this bullish pennant form, right? This is on a 4-hour. Dive in a little deeper. And it's absolutely looking like a bullish pennant. Volume was in the 320 range last night before I went to bed. It's at 275. It's coming down. So power is on breakout watch, right? The reason I say that's because we're seeing it to get more and more bullish. If you want to look at divergences, based off this high with all these wicks, I don't think it's divergent yet. It looks like a clean run up here. But it's just gonna need more volume. I think like the 600, 700 range, we're gonna start seeing power make some gains. Power is kind of a relentless gainer. Once it does enter a bull run, it's gonna want to make some pretty good gains, right? I think this was the post ICO initial gains, and it dropped back down, made some more gains. I'd like to see a new high. It's still early. As you can see, I've got an alert set for 5097. And that's going to be a trigger point where I'd probably add a whole lot more. I'm going to do IOTA. IOTA looks like she's making some gains, right? If I put moving averages on here, it's going to look good. Seriously? There we go. Awesome. So moving averages starting to look good. I wouldn't FOMO into here. Things that have made solid gains are starting to retrace, right? And we want to pick up the retracement before the next leg up. So if it hasn't pulled back to 50 fib, you either want to look for that oversold on the 30-minute, or wait for a 50% retracement. And just a disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not a financial advice. This is just what I would do in these market situations. All right, so Lumen, I'm pretty sure I covered Lumen, Brian. In waves, how far up did waves go? I know you had both of those on, whoa, there we go, on our watch list. I can see waves really doing something pretty massive here, as we're starting to see more and more accumulation. DI plus is just breaking above DI minus. Let me check the 12-hour. We're in the 21 range on the ADX, so this thing can get pretty violent once we get in the higher ranges. I'm gonna go to like Bitrix. I think it's been listed on there for longer. Yep, much longer. If you look at it on a long-term standpoint, it's one of the coins that upheld its value through the bear market. I'm not talking upheld its all-time high, but this is one of the coins that's contributing to that market dominance that I spoke of. Whenever we went from 10% market dominance to 20%, or from 10 to 17, coins that did this are the coins that are contributing to the altcoin market dominance, and that's the stuff that we want to see move. Green, I'm pretty sure I covered ADA. I covered ADA as one of my first coins. I'll go over it again. We had a buy signal in the 21-22 or 26 on the 1 day. ADX is at 31. It's 12 hours. I believe we still got some room to go. We might range for a while, as it likes to range in this price range. Before the next leg up. Now, one thing I would definitely keep an eye on, I did say BTC is divergent. We want to see how far back it's going to want to pull. We also want to keep an eye on these shorts. It looks like number of shorts is coming back down. Shorts typically, they used to range, and now they're still at that top of the range. So you could analyze this like a chart, right? Before going really deep in the alts and say, hey, but George, you said we're in a bull run. We want to see shorts get back below this level of support, right? We want to see them get crushed a little more before we make the next leg up on BTC. If shorts drop, then we're going to remain bullish. If they kind of get back up above here and start shorting some more, which we might see as this next pullback happens, we'll see where that goes. And as far as a div goes, it's definitely a div, but a lot of them got burnt. So, but generally for this quarter, I believe we're gonna be green, right? Historically, April, May, June, cumulatively, it's been green, and alts are still in that rally. Market cap still going up, and this was a significant gain in market cap. I just wanted to highlight that before I move any more forward talking about alts. Guys, please ask your if you've got questions about alts, please post those in our Discord. You guys on Facebook? All right, guys, Discord. You got any more alt questions? You guys want me to cover alts? ETH is looking mighty, or it was last I looked at it. I'll cover ZRX. So we know quite a bit about ZRX. We know it's on that custodian list. It broke out of the previous range. It's starting to range up here. Moving averages look pretty good. I'd hate to see a stop hunt. We could see one, but I'd hate to see a stop hunt. It's still moving up. It's inching up. We bought the pennant as 78. We're up to 89, so it's up above 10%. Volume still needs to build up here. It's a 49. It's very low volume. So things like this, we're waiting on the volume, and we want to hike up our stops in case we get stopped out in a stop hunt, because we've seen pennants form, make minute gains, and then drop back down for a stop hunt before the real rally. So we want to make sure we're not getting stuck in one of those. Ether. ETH BTC is looking bullish, right? So we see these moving averages come up. One thing we do know, as these market head turns happen, ETH tends to range. So it's past its previous resistance. It's looking bullish, right? It's been gaining fairly well. If you look at ETH USD, it's made some pretty awesome games. Like compared to Litecoin, where we saw this last high, it's much further ahead. As for the momentum goes on the 1 day, we're still not seeing this not a golden cross, call it a bronze cross. It's the first cross I look for. I want to see what happens there. Typically when that happens, we see a violent run up, or if it doesn't cross, we'll see a minor retracement back to another leg up. So back to ETH BTC. It's looking pretty good on the 1 day. We've got the bronze cross that I like to see. I believe it's almost time for a pullback, right? We want to see these pullbacks start to happen. And let me go to an RSI, check for divergence. We're starting to see some div on the 4 hour, right? So as I said, I'm seeing divergence on BTC, I'm seeing divergence on ETH, seeing a lot of divergences taking place. So that being said, I want to start looking for short positions only for the short term. Am I trading against the trend? Sort of, but I want to capitalize on some of these formations, right? Like we've seen this higher high, and it's definitely divergent. I will check ARC and I will check Dragon. So ETH, my consensus profit take, only for a rebuy at the retrace. ARC volume's at 100. It's not quite breakout volume for me to play the breakout. Let me use my moving averages. Moving averages look good, right? We're seeing this, I wouldn't call it a pennant yet. Let me get on a smaller time frame. Definitely some kind of formation there. It's too soon. I think arc, it's too soon to get an arc. I want to see like a 500, 600 B vol before I get in. Since we're on arc, I'm gonna check on Lisk. I think they're similar in run modes. Same thing with Lisk. Does Lisk like to fake out on a 1-day chart? No. So I'm gonna put some more alerts on Lisk and arc and such just to keep an eye on them. Let me know if they're making gains. Dragon. You guys, I think Dragon Chain, whenever that hits the bigger exchanges, the higher volume exchanges, we're gonna see some gains happen, right? I mean, this is all like so low volume right now. It's hard to judge these coins. Whoa, no, it's not. Look at the moving averages. It's starting to pick up. I think you're right, Vasily. $164. What's typical? What's a good breakout volume on KuCoin? I'm not on that exchange. Can you let me know? Go to 1-day. Probably not going to be enough chart data. Oh, this is starting to look better, right? So we're seeing the bronze cross I talked about, and now we're going a little further up. XCM is starting to shape up. I think a lot of us are holding some pretty big XCM bags. It's back in that buy range. We know that this drop happened because of the hack. ADX pretty low on the 1-day, so you might go sideways unless it just picks up some steam, starts going. Let's check like a 4-hour ADX. Yeah, 4-hour looks bullish, guys. Check for a div. So ADX at 28 on the 4-hour. We're seeing a lower high on RSI and a higher high on the chart. It's a little worrisome. I would tighten up a stop on them, right? Just because we don't want it to come down, and stay down for much longer, especially when we're seeing these rallies, so we can get out of here and get in elsewhere. If you want to follow the momentum, unless you're a hodler. Guys, any more alts? Any more alt suggestions? Stratus. I knew you were gonna say that. So like Waves is looking a little better than NEM, right? Just based on divergence, volume still going up, 337. I'd be a little more bullish on Waves currently than NEM. Just want to highlight that they're both off Brian's watch list. Brian is one of our analysts. Cypher SEIFER 101. I go into Strat. Strat is still range bound. It hasn't gone to the top of the range. RSI is not looking too good up here, but once again it's range bound, right? And it's starting to find like a higher RSI support, or is it not? I'm getting like conflicting views. No, I'm not. I don't know. Digibyte. What's up with Digibyte? Still seeing the same thing on Digibyte, right? This RSI here is a little lower. It's doing what a lot of these coins are doing, but it's showing divergence. Now, ADX is high. ADX is high. Really high. And again, I've been wrong about Digibyte before. I dislike this coin. I think it's a shit coin. Now, if we look at it, you know, long term, if I was to fib the long term move here, it's right at that. It bounced off the 71. I ran it off the 71. Typically, this is where it's no longer bullish zone. So I wouldn't FOMO into here. If I could, I'd short it right here. It's right at that pivot point where it's pivoted a few times before. You see that, Lucas? Alright guys, I'll take 3 more altcoins. I'm having fun with this one today, so I'll take 3 more altcoin requests and then we'll call it a day. BAT, I did not cover BAT. I might have skipped that one. Sorry guys. We know that BAT is on that same list that ZRX is. It broke out of the pennant. It looks like it's setting up into a flag. We don't see a bearish divergence here, right? I mean, look at these last 2 highs. Look clean. This is what I'm looking for, right? When we see a lot of stuff that is divergent, we see a chart that's not. This is the one that's more likely to, you know, make a little more gains while we're still in this uptrend, or if it traces back, it's the cleaner one. EMC squared, we do have, I have a friend that's closely affiliated with them, and once again it's moved back up, right? It's starting to move back up. This one's very volatile, guys. Super volatile token. What's up with these 2 highs? I don't know if I'd call that divergent. Do you want to judge the wicks or the candles? I'd say she's in chop right now. Do you have confirmation that it's getting pending approval on Binance? Do you have a date for listing? If not, I can try to find out. We've got somebody on the team. Awesome. Well, I'll look into that. Thank you, Green. We know this thing gets really volatile too, right? We've made 1700% on this puppy. Anyways, guys, I'll take 1 more token. Ash just asked about CIS and the different channels. This is gonna be the last one I cover today. CIS coin. So this one's a master node play, Ash. You gotta be patient with these because they do take a while to pan out. If we were to look at it on a fib from this last low where this move started, we're right at that 61.8 going up to the 50. So it's still good. It's a good hodl right now. Let me go to 1-day chart, and I believe we're seeing the same thing. You see this exaggerated bullish div. This bounce off the 61.8, past the 50. It's looking like a good hold, right? Like coins that look like this are going to be OMG. Look very similar to SIS before it started this big leg up. It actually bounced off the 50, so it's a little more bullish. So, you know, we want to see the coins. That's what I was talking about, coins that upheld their value throughout this 3-month bear market. The things that upheld like a 50% fib and a 61.8% fib are the ones that are most likely going to rally, because institutions and people that are backing those still think they're good tokens. Things that retrace back down to 0 and it passed to like a 78.6, those are going to be a little weaker tokens, more like pump and dump tokens, and, you know, aka shit coins. So yeah, if you want to, you know, if you're going to see who's upholding value based on price action, fib these things on the long term from the last swing low to last swing high. Check for divergences right now for these current moves, and, you know, assess them based on those values. That's how I would approach these market conditions, instead of just, you know, praying and hodling. Anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching PowerHour. I'll be on Discord, probably some Day Trader Lounge later today. And yeah, I'm gonna check in on BTC, see if it's almost time to short. I do believe we're gonna have a minor pullback before the next leg up. I believe so strongly. Unless we make a new high that breaks past this divergence over here, right? So it's gonna be my last update. Viva, thank you so much. I try to stay on top of things for you all. Yeah, if you're not part of our community and you want to join, there's a link to our Discord. Get with myself or eWoodsy, and we'll see what we can do to help you in the crypto space. Yeah, thank you all. Happy gaining.